Hey everyone, so for today's video I'm going to be talking about something that I am very passionate about. If you didn't catch my last video, I did a little bit of a time-lapse doing some watercolor painting. I have always been a lover of art, and watercolor has probably been something I've only really been doing in the past 2 years, I guess. But it's something that I really loved, and I want to say during quarantine it's been probably the most I've done. I have a pretty big stack of paintings that I've done. Yeah, I've done quite a few. I don't know if they're all from quarantine, but I would guess that the majority of these is from lockdown period. So yeah, that's what's been keeping me busy. So I thought because this is something that I am really passionate about, I decided that I would do a little video kind of talking about how I personally like to paint. So I'll just be talking about some of the tools that I use and things like that. So I want to start off by showing you some of the favourites that I've done. I don't want to go through all of them because as you saw there are quite a lot, but I will talk about some of my favourite paintings that I have done just to give you an idea of what my style is like. So I really like to do natural kind of landscape paintings, so that is what I've done a lot of, so that's what I'll show you today. So I'll just whiz through them. So first we've got this one, which is from Sledmere House, which I did a very brief video on, I think, but that is where that's from. This one is from the South Island of New Zealand. I think it could have been Queenstown, but I'm pretty sure this was inspired from a place in Queenstown. This one is very typical of me. I'm a huge fan of Tangled. I really love Disney movies, and Tangled is my absolute favourite. And so of course I've done Rapunzel's tower. This one is one of my most simple paintings. It's just a country road, and it's really, yeah, basic, but I like that for some reason. I don't know, I like the colours and I like the layout. So that's that. This one is of one of my favourite streets. It's very colourful, and every time I go there I have to take a picture because it's gorgeous. So that's one of the first paintings I did in this style, and I'm really pleased with how it turned out, and I think it's really cute. This is another local thing. It is of a kind of river thingy that's nearby, and this is based off a picture of a sunset that was on it, so it's kind of the sunset reflecting into the water. I really like this one. It's definitely one of my favourites that I've done. And this one's another one from New Zealand. I'm not sure if it's quite showing up very well because it's super light, but I really love it. It's from Oamaru, I think. I'm pretty sure it's from Oamaru. And it's just a little bay area. I think it's really nice, like the little dock. I don't know, I really like this one. It's super light though, so it doesn't show up well, and I'm not sure how that's gonna scan, but I still really like it. So those are some of my favourite paintings that I've done. In terms of size, I think they are 13 by 18 centimeters. I have cut them all down. So this is the paper that I've used for them. It is fucking good. I think that's how you say it. I did use this brand in New Zealand, but coming to England, it's not quite the same, which is really annoying. The paper that I used from New Zealand I felt was a nicer texture to me, but this is the style that they have in England. They're both Bockingford, so I'm not quite sure why there's a difference, but yeah, I really like this paper in particular. I'm pretty sure it's cold press. Yes, it's cold press, which is what I prefer because I prefer a smoother texture as opposed to a really rough texture. And I personally feel like this paper is really good for that. I mean, that could just be me, I don't know. But I like this size more because the New Zealand size was slightly smaller, but this one works really well because it is the perfect size to cut into 4. So you can get the perfect size, and that's why I really like it. It's so perfect. It means I don't have to have any leftover paper, which I hate having. So keeping on the theme of tools that I use, this is my bag of paints. It is a mess, and it's a whole mixture of different brands. So what really got me into the watercolor painting is that my mom's friend gave me some paints that somebody doesn't use anymore, and so I've been using them. So they're by a brand that I don't know. It's Venezia, so they're Italian paints, so you know they should be great quality. So that's what really got me into them. So I got a few of those, but I really buy Winsor & Newton paints, so I've got quite a few of those. I've got most of them, I think, are in this size, which is the 8mm. And it looks small. It looks really small, but you don't need a lot to get the colour you want unless you're using something like white, which goes really quickly, and that's why I've got the 21mm in the white. Those are the two brands that I really use, but yeah, the majority are Winsor & Newton and that Venezia one. Venezia? My Italian is not good. So I don't know any other brands of watercolor paints that I could recommend, but I do really like Winsor & Newton. I think they're pretty affordable. When I say affordable, I mean like affordable, because paint is expensive in general, and I think for their quality they are really good price. I honestly do recommend getting the 8mm though, unless you know you're going to be using that colour a lot. Something like white you probably should get a bigger tube of, because you will be mixing it with everything. But in terms of the other colours, I would recommend the 8mm, just because I think you get enough, and I don't think I've had to replace any colours yet. I think maybe black and white are the only ones that I have used and had to buy repeats of because I use them so often, but everything else has lasted me quite a while, so I recommend the 8mm. You probably noticed on my paintings that I like to do a black outline for most of my things. Like, that's just personal preference. I think it makes the pictures look a little bit more interesting to me. Again, personal preference. You could probably do that with some black watercolor paints or something else, or you could just leave it entirely. But for those, I really love to use the I'm gonna butcher the name, I'm not great with names. Statler or Statler? The fine liners. Pigment liner, fine liner. So I've got 2 of these just because I started off with this one. I saw this one, I like this one more. So these are tiny little pens. So I'm gonna show you the biggest and the smallest ones that I have. So this one is 0.05, and I'm guessing that's in millimeters. And this one is 0.8. So the one that I use the most is a 0.05 because I really like that tiny pen liner. I think it just looks really nice and it doesn't get too chunky. But if you are a fan of thicker liners, then I've got the 0.8. This one's probably better for bigger pictures or things that need a little bit more of depth, I think, maybe, or something shadowed. But I personally prefer the 0.05, and I will show you the size difference for these because it is astounding. As you can see, they are very different. So this one is the 0.08, this one's the 0.8 and 0.05. So yeah, it depends on how big you want your outlines to be, but I prefer this one. Could be wrong, I think I got this one for 20 New Zealand dollars, which is roughly around £10. I could be wrong. I don't know. I do not remember. It was a long time ago. But I will put a link in the description for the pens and the Winsor & Newton. I could try and put in a link for the Venezia ones, but I do not even know where to look for those. The Walkingford paper as well, I will leave a link in the description for those as well. But that is all I have to say about this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, comment in the comments down below if you have any questions about any of the products that I mentioned today, or if you want any tips on any painting things. Click subscribe if you're new or want to stay updated, and remember to hit that bell button so that you're notified whenever I post new content. But yeah, that is the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope I didn't ramble on too much. I have a habit of doing that. And I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye bye!